So I appreciate your comments just a moment ago here, Mr. Chairman, stating that, look, the committee is going to be going through each one of these items, agencies line by line. You're returning it to the base of last budget. You're completely omitting the governor's thoughts and his perspectives on how state government should be run, and you're starting over without compromise and without, frankly, much discussion. I would also, though, I recall the words of my colleague, Representative Andraka, as she stated that we currently live in an environment of chaos and confusion where families across this country are worried about rising costs. They're worried about the future of our economy. They're worried about life continually becoming more difficult as a result of the federal Republican administration. And so Representative Andraka noted that what people need now is certainty. What people need now is confidence that the things that they need and their families need are going to show up. And so I recognize your statements. You're returning it to base. We're going to go through all these things line by line. But I do want to remind this committee, before we even get started on that process, that as you return it to base, that the most people, or the issue that the most talked about issue at our listening sessions, that's a better way of saying it, the most discussed issue at our listening sessions was special education funding and bringing that to 60%. In fact, I recall, I think it was the conservative candidate for superintendent who came and said, hey, we really need to raise special education rates to 60%. I think a lot of you guys had supported her in her campaign. And so this isn't a liberal issue. It's certainly not an urban issue. We heard from rural school districts and urban school districts, from West Allis to Wausau to Hayward to Kaukauna. We heard from big school districts and little school districts. We heard from those that had passed referendums and those that didn't pass referendums. And they all said the same thing, that they absolutely need us to get to 60% on special education reimbursement. And right now we're going back to base. The governor had it at 60%. You're taking it way down today. But given the chair's comments, I'm reminding you, and I'm hopeful that you'll follow through on what people have asked of us. What they have told us will make their community stronger, will make life easier, and will, instead of what the federal government is doing, not make their life more difficult, not make their school life more challenging, not make their children's life more challenging. I'm really optimistic, frankly, that we can get that done this session. I think that we've heard from enough people for a long enough time, and that the environment is rich for this state to finally solve that challenge once and for all for our communities back home. And so I'm hopeful that you'll be doing that in the coming weeks and months. I don't think we should be returning to base today. I think that people need certainty. I think that people need to believe that we are going to be funding the priorities that they requested from us, and we can do that by not returning to base today and working collaboratively with the East Wing on determining where the priorities should be. Thank you.